what I'm going to teach you today is called a whip graft, whipping a tongue, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to make that taper on both sides, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to slice down the middle of both of them and slip that tongue into this whip. All of the surface area of this, the inside, the outside, inside, and the outside, okay? And then when you wrap that up, you squeeze it together, and you can shake it, and it's not gonna come off. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today, and I'll show you the steps involved with that. And so basically, this is what we have. Okay, this is a scion. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would eventually cut that top bud off of there. And so what you're going to do is, so you're going to take your scion, and they're going to be all different sizes. Okay, so you have these, and they're all different sizes. So you'll take one of these, and you'll try to match it up with your tree. So here's a nice big one. Okay, it's probably too big for this tree. Maybe one back there. This one, maybe. Okay, that might work. So we'll take this one, and there are a couple of considerations about where you want to graft. Now, I could take one of these smaller ones and move up the tree. I could graft clear up here. Why wouldn't you want to do that? What are the pros and cons of grafting?
You're gonna have apples coming off down below your graft.
Right, and you're going to be pruning this tree at some point down the line. And unless you keep that marked, one of these days you're going to be out there and it's cold and you're on your 25th tree and then you snip and you go, crap. And you just cut the graft off. Okay, so you can do it, but you have to be a little bit careful about it. Okay, I know there's gas. Okay, but that's really what we wanted to do. Now, if you look at this. It's got a little bit of brown on the end. And so you'll notice that I left quite a bit on my scion to the first bud. And that's so that I can go ahead and trim that off and get green back again. Okay, so now I've got green and green. Now how are we gonna, I could do it just like that, okay, but it's probably not gonna be the best. So this is where the sharp implements come in, okay? And there are all kinds, everybody has their own favorites. A lot of these are called grafting knives or bonsai knives. These two happen to be single-sided knives. And they're really good, they're really strong, but you have to have a way to sharpen a one-sided knife, okay? So I use one to get through the biggest part of the wood. And so how much of an angle do you want on here? Well, it should be anywhere between 3 and 5 times the diameter of your scion. Okay, so we're going to try to go for a taper that's about this long. All right. So I always try to do it. If you look at this, you see a bud right here, but on this side there's no bud for that amount of space. So I'm going to do the taper on the side away from this bud. Okay, right. And so I'm going to make a cut right here, and I'm going to taper it so that it goes completely through the scion. And this is where these protectors come in handy. And so you can see here that it's tapered all the way through. And it's kind of tapered equally. I need to sharpen my knife again here. And so what happens is that you can bend this. See how you can bend that tip? And so what happens is it goes all the way through at kind of this angle here. And the smoother you can make this cut, the better it will be, because you're going to be putting this directly into a taper of equal size on the other side. Really good for color, but the green part is all around here, all around the outside. So that's the phloem part that's going to give you the food for the tree. Okay, so we've got one taper here. We're going to go to this one, and the same thing here. This one's got a little more buds around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this bud right here, and I'm going to make the taper from here on up. Okay, so, and the way that I like to do it is I like to actually measure it. Okay, so that is right there, and so I would probably try to cut right in here. Okay, and this will be the taper that matches that other side. So that's going to be the whip part of the graft. Okay, so again, you can see you can bend that on the end. That means you've gone all the way through and you just have the barest little bit of that green tissue left in there. Okay, so you could put it together just like that. Okay, you could wrap it together just like that and it would probably be okay. We want to add one more level of complexity, and so about 3/4 of the way from the bottom, you want to make another cut, and this is the one that gets the fingers a little bit. But if you kind of rock your knife back and forth, what you're going to do is make the tongue. Okay, and so you go just straight back down. And go just a little bit past the bottom. Okay, so now you've got this tongue right here. You see the tongue?
Past the bottom of the cut?
Yeah, go past just a little bit. Okay, and I'll tell you why.
Pretty deep cut there.
It's a deep cut, but you don't want to angle it to the back. You want it to go straight down here. If you angle it to the back, this is going to get cut off, or it's going to be weak on the back. Okay. And then on this side, we want to do the same thing. So about 3/4 of the way up, and it doesn't have to be exact, but do the same sort of thing. Okay, and sometimes you can actually score it on the side to kind of train it to where you want it to go.
Yeah, 60 years ago, my dad,
Okay, so now we have identical cuts,
it all kind of comes back.
right? We have identical cuts in these, and now we just put the tongue of one into the tongue of the other. Okay, so we kind of peel it back a little bit, run one tongue down in there, and you can see how the two pieces are fitting together almost exactly. Okay, and in between that. And what I like to use, it's called parafilm. Okay, and it is kind of waxy, kind of plasticky, but what's interesting about it is it stretches, okay, up to a point. And it has a certain tensile strength to it. These, you can get them that are actually cut to length. These aren't, so you have to cut them to length yourself. But it doesn't take a whole lot because you're going to be pulling it and wrapping it, pulling it and wrapping it. And what that will do is will squeeze all of the air spots out of between those two, wrap them together, it will seal it. This parafilm still breathes a little bit, okay? But the whole idea is to get those two pieces to be perfectly aligned together, okay? And then I just typically start with the bottom myself and pull that tight and wrap it and pull it and wrap it and pull it, and wrap it and pull it, wrap it and pull it. And once you get above the top part, then if you've got some left over, just pull it back down and wrap it back down. Okay. So now, that is about the best that I can do. Okay. The other thing that I would do is I would take a little bit of this tree dope, and I would put it on the top, okay, where it's exposed, and because that will dry out, it will take a little bit of water out of there. And then the other thing that I would do, probably one of the most important things that I would do, is label it. Okay? Because if you do 100 of these, and then you go back and go, oh crap, was that Granny's favorite or was that the crab apple? You're not going to know for 10 years. Okay. And wait. Now another thing that I didn't mention that I'm just seeing right now is when you take these scions out, let's get the big one. We take these scions out, you have two ends that you can worry about, okay? How do you know which is up?
The direction that the buds are pointing.
Yeah, you want the pointy end up, okay? They will come out, but it'll go like a dipsy doodle, okay? And you don't want to add that on there. So make sure that you put the bottom on the bottom, and so that the bud is pointing up.